Welcome to my channel $T Valuable Coins. So get it started. Today we are diving deep into the world of Lincoln cents, specifically the 1964, 1977, 1990, and 1995 1-cent coins. These coins may look small, but they carry huge stories of history, design, minting errors, and collector value. If you have any of these coins at home, don't skip this video, because one of them could actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars today. So stay tuned till the end and let's uncover the secrets behind these cents.
The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1964, the coin had already been in circulation for 55 years. The 1964 penny was struck at two major mints: Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, Denver Mint with a small D mint mark below the date. In 1964, the United States Mint produced an enormous number of pennies, more than 6.4 billion coins in total. That makes it one of the highest mintage years for the Lincoln cent series. The obverse or front of the coin features President Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959 to honor Lincoln's 150th birthday. This design replaced the earlier wheat ears design, making 1964 one of the early years of the Lincoln Memorial cent series. Lincoln facing right, the word liberty. On the left, the motto "In God We Trust." Above, and the year 1964 with or without the mint mark under it. The Lincoln Memorial in the center. Interestingly, if you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. Around the design, the words United States of America e pluribus unum and the denomination 1 cent are written. The 1964 penny was struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition is important because in 1982 the U.S. Mint changed the penny to mostly zinc with just a thin copper coating. So the 1964 penny is one of the last true copper coins, which makes it attractive to collectors and even to investors who value copper. As mentioned earlier, over 6.4 billion 1964 pennies were minted. Here are the details. 1964 Philadelphia, no mint mark around 2.65 billion coins. 1964 AD Denver Mint around 3.79 billion coins. Even though billions were made, not all of them survived in good condition. That's why collectors look for coins in mint state or uncirculated condition. So, what is a 1964 penny worth today? The answer depends heavily on the condition. Circulated condition, common wear, usually worth only face value, 1 cent. Uncirculated mint state, a coin in brilliant uncirculated condition can be worth from $1 to $10. High grades and above these can sell for $20 to $100 or more, depending on quality. Proof coins. The U.S. Mint also produced proof pennies in 1964, sold to collectors. These coins are worth anywhere from $25 to several $100s if they are in perfect condition. But that's not all. The most exciting part for collectors is always the error coins. Here are some of the known errors for the 1964 penny. Some 1964 pennies show doubling in the date or lettering like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." These can sell for hundreds of dollars. Off-center strikes. Coins struck off-center can range from $50 to over $200 depending on how dramatic the error is. Die cracks and cuds. These happen when the minting dies crack, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal. Values vary from $10 to $100 plus. Wrong planchet errors. Very rare. A penny accidentally struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet can be worth thousands. Collectors love these errors, and finding one can turn an ordinary penny into a treasure. If you want to collect 1964 pennies, here are some tips. Always check for the mint mark. Philadelphia no mark or Denver D. Use a magnifying glass to look for errors and doubling. Store coins in protective holders to keep them from tarnishing. Focus on finding uncirculated rolls or proof sets, as these offer the best chance at high-value coins. 1964 was a significant year in the U.S. history. The Civil Rights Act was signed into law. The Vietnam War was escalating, and President Lyndon B. Johnson was in the office. At the same time, coin shortages were happening in the early 1960s. The U.S. Mint had to increase production of coins, especially pennies, to meet public demand. That's why such a huge number of 1964 pennies were minted. In 1964, the mint produced proof sets for collectors, struck in Philadelphia. Proof coins have sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, and are struck multiple times. For quality, a 1964 proof cent can be worth $25 to $500, depending on grade and whether it has a special cameo or deep cameo contrast. Some additional varieties that advanced collectors look for: 1964 D/D RPM repunched mint mark. The Denver D was stamped more than once. Value $10 to $100 plus. 1964 proof doubled die reverse doubling can appear on E pluribus unum or the Lincoln Memorial columns. Value $200 plus. Struck through errors, sometimes pieces of cloth, grease, or other objects got between the die and the blank coin. These unusual errors can be worth $50 to $500, depending on appearance. Because it's 95% copper, each coin contains about 2.5 cents worth of copper. At today's market prices, scrap value. It is illegal to melt U.S. pennies for scrap. But collectors know the intrinsic value is higher than face value. If you stack 100 pennies from 1964, the stack would weigh more than 300 grams, heavier than a soda can. This is because of the solid copper composition. So, the 1964 Lincoln 1 cent may look like just another old penny, but in reality, it has a fascinating history, collectible varieties, and potential hidden value. Most are still only worth 1 cent, but in the right condition or with a rare error, this coin can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Before we zoom into 1977, let's understand the background of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The designer was Victor David Brenner, and his initials created a lot of controversy in the very first year. From 1909 to 1958, the coin featured the Lincoln wheat reverse design. Starting in 1959, on the 150th birthday of Lincoln, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design, created by Frank Gasparro. So, by 1977, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had already been in circulation for 18 years. The portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, designed by Victor David Brenner. The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparro. 95% copper, 5% zinc and tin, the classic bronze alloy. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams. Diameter 19.05 millimeters. Edge smooth. This was one of the last decades when pennies were made of mostly copper. After 1982, the U.S. Mint switched to copper-plated zinc pennies, which weigh less. So, the 1977 penny is a true copper coin, and that makes it more collectible. In 1977, the penny was minted at 3 different locations. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Over 4.4 billion coins were struck. Denver Mint with a small D mint mark below the date. Over 4.1 billion coins were struck. San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark. But here's the twist: in 1977, San Francisco only struck proof coins for collectors, not regular circulation coins. Around 3.25 million proof sets were produced. So, if you find a 1977 S penny in circulation, it probably came from a broken proof set. This is where things get really exciting for collectors. Some 1977 pennies have rare errors and varieties, which can make them much more valuable. Double die errors. Some coins show doubling on the obverse, especially in the date, liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." These are highly collectible. Off-center strikes. If the design is not properly centered, collectors pay big money for those. Clipped planchets. Pennies that were struck on an incomplete or clipped blank can also be valuable. BIE error. A small die crack between the letters B and E in liberty, making it look like the word says liberty. Proof errors. Occasionally, 1977 S proof pennies show cameo or deep cameo contrast, which can raise their value significantly. Now, let's talk about the value of the part collectors love most. 1977 Philadelphia penny. In circulated condition, just 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, around $10 to $25. Rare high grades like can sell for over $500. 1977 D penny. Circulated, 1 cent. About $15 to $20. Can fetch $500 to $1,000 in auctions. 1977 S proof penny. Typical proof, around $3 to $5. Deep cameo or examples, $50 to $150. Error coins. A double die or off-center strike can range from $50 to several $100, depending on severity. So, while most 1977 pennies are worth just face value, a small number can be worth hundreds or even thousands. If you're interested in collecting 1977 pennies, here are some tips. Always check the condition. Coins with little wear are more valuable. Look carefully for errors and varieties under a magnifying glass. If you find a proof penny in circulation, protect it. It likely came from a set. Store your coins properly in flips, coin capsules or albums to prevent damage. Did you know every Lincoln Memorial cent actually shows a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, visible with magnification? 1977 was also the year when the U.S. celebrated the country's bicentennial spirit. After 1976, many people kept coins from this era as souvenirs. 1977 was during the presidency of Jimmy Carter, and the U.S. economy was facing inflation. Copper prices were rising, which later forced the mint in the early 1980s to change the penny's metal composition. Because copper was valuable, many people started hoarding pennies from the 1970s. Even today, a 1977 penny has about 2 cents worth of copper inside it. But melting coins for metal is illegal. The U.S. Mint used copper planchets, blanks that were struck with high-pressure presses. Proof coins from San Francisco were specially polished using mirrored dies for that shiny appearance. In 1977, the mint still used traditional engraving methods. Computers weren't heavily involved in coin design yet. Billions of 1977 and 1977 AD pennies were made, but most ended up heavily circulated. High-grade examples are rare today because pennies are often stored in jars, damaged or corroded. Experts estimate that less than 1% of the 1977 pennies survive in gem mint condition. Pennies are often considered lucky coins. If you find one from 1977, it connects you to a time nearly 50 years ago. In 1977, movies like Star Wars were released, so having a 1977 penny is like holding a piece of history from the year that pop culture changed forever. Next, 1 cent. 1990. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it has remained on the cent for over a century. By 1990, the penny had already gone through major changes. 1909 to 1958, wheat reverse design. 1959 to 2008, the Lincoln Memorial reverse, which is the design we see on the 1990 penny. After 2010, the shield reverse was introduced. So the 1990 penny belongs to the Memorial reverse era, which makes it an important coin for modern collectors. In 1990, pennies were struck at 3 main mints. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, around 6.8 billion pieces. Denver Mint, D mint mark, around 4.9 billion pieces. San Francisco Mint, S mint mark, special proof coins for collectors, about 3.2 million pieces. This means the 1990 penny is not rare in terms of numbers, but certain varieties and conditions make them special. Metal. By 1990, pennies were made mostly of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. Plating. Weight 2.5 grams. Diameter 19 millimeters. Edge smooth, no reading. Fun fact: before 1982, pennies were made of mostly copper, weighing 3.11 grams. That makes the 1990 penny lighter and easier to distinguish from older ones. Shows Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Inscriptions: In God We Trust, Liberty, and the year 1990. Mint mark under the date of Denver or San Francisco. Features the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln in the memorial, making it one of the rare U.S. coins to show the same person on both sides. Inscriptions: United States of America e pluribus unum and 1 cent. This is where collectors get excited. The 1990 penny has some famous error coins and rare varieties. 1990 No-S proof penny. The most famous variety in 1990, some proof coins from San Francisco were mistakenly struck without the S mint mark. These are extremely rare and valuable, selling for $2,000 to $5,000 depending on condition. Some 1990 pennies show doubling on the date, lettering, or Lincoln's features. Values range from $50 to several $100. If the coin design is not centered, collectors love it. The more dramatic the off-center, the higher the value, sometimes $100 plus. These pennies are struck on an incomplete blank, creating a curved bite mark. Value: $20 to $150 depending on size. Now, the question everyone asks: how much is my 1990 penny worth? Circulated condition, usually just 1 cent. Uncirculated mint state can fetch $1 to $10. Proof 1990 ES with mint mark around $5 to $20. 1990 No-S proof error, $2,000 to $5,000 or more at auctions. High grade plus examples sometimes sold for hundreds of dollars. So, while most 1990 pennies are common, the rare errors and top grades are where the big money lies. Always check for the mint mark, especially on proof coins. Use a magnifying glass to spot doubling or mint errors. Store valuable coins in protective holders to avoid scratches. If you think you have a rare 1990 penny, get it graded by or NGC for authentication. Did you know in 1990 the penny actually cost more than 1 cent to produce? Many people thought the US would eliminate the penny soon, but here we are in 2025 and it's still around. The 1990 penny may not be ancient, but it is an important part of the US coin history. And for collectors, those rare errors like the 1990 No-S proof make this year unforgettable. The year 1990 was right before a big milestone. In 1992, the US Mint accidentally created the famous 1992 close AM penny. Collectors sometimes look at 1990 to 1992 pennies very closely. Because of that design transition, the 1990 penny itself doesn't have a close AM variety, but it's part of the era that led to it, so collectors often check these coins carefully. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins every year. Because of such high mintage, the quality control wasn't always perfect. That's why small doubling, die cracks, and weak strikes are common on 1990 pennies. This makes error hunting especially fun. For this year, the 1990s proof coins were struck in San Francisco using highly polished dies and planchets. They feature mirror-like fields and frosted designs, known as cameo or deep cameo. Collectors often grade proof coins by how strong that contrast is. A deep cameo 1990s proof can be worth more than standard proof. Even though billions were made, finding a perfect grade 1990 penny is extremely rare. Most pennies, even uncirculated ones, have small marks from the minting process. That's why collectors will pay high prices for a 1990 penny in or higher. Many collectors enjoy searching through bank-wrapped rolls of pennies to find 1990 varieties. It's still possible to find uncirculated examples in rolls since the mintage was so high. Some lucky collectors even find error pennies hidden in everyday change, while common pennies from 1990 don't bring much. The 1990 NOS proof is legendary. It is considered one of the king of Lincoln proof varieties. This coin is often featured in auction houses like Heritage Auctions and can reach thousands of dollars. In 1990, the U.S. celebrated the 200th anniversary of the Bill of Rights, but no special cent was made for it. Still, the penny remained the most widely used U.S. coin, and many people held onto coins from this era out of nostalgia. 1 cent 1995. The Lincoln cent has been one of the most iconic American coins since it was first issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. From 1959 to 2008, the reverse design featured the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1995, the Lincoln cent had already been circulating for decades, and it was struck in huge quantities at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Denomination: 1 cent. Composition: copper-plated zinc 97.5%. Zinc 2.5% copper. Weight 2.5 grams. Diameter 19 millimeters. Edge smooth. Features Abraham Lincoln's bust, the motto "In God We Trust," the word liberty, and the year 1995. Shows the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the United States of America and E pluribus unum above, and 1 cent below. The 1995 penny was struck at 3 different locations. 1995 No Mint Mark, Philadelphia. Mintage: around 6.4 billion coins. Common in circulation. 1995 ID Denver Mint. Mintage: around 7.1 billion coins. Also very common. 1995's San Francisco proof. Mintage, around 2.8 million proof coins. These were specially made for collectors, with sharp strikes and mirror-like fields. One of the most important reasons the 1995 penny is famous is the doubled die obverse variety. On this variety, you can clearly see doubling in the inscriptions, especially in the word liberty and the motto "In God we trust." This error happened because of a misalignment in the die hubbing process. It is highly sought after by collectors and can bring in much higher prices than a normal 1995 cent value of the doubled die obverse. Circulated, $20 to $50. Uncirculated, mint state $100 to $300. Proof-like examples can even reach over $1,000 in top grades. Apart from the doubled die, other mint errors also exist, such as off-center strikes. Part of the design is missing. Clipped planchet's coin appears to have a bite taken out. Broad strikes coin struck without a collar, making it wider. Die cracks and cuds, raised lines or blobs caused by damaged dies. Each of these can increase the coin's value depending on how dramatic the error is. If you're collecting 1995 pennies, here's what to look for. Check for the doubled die obverse carefully using a magnifying glass. Look for high-grade, uncirculated examples with full luster. Proof coins from San Francisco are worth keeping in original cases. Rare errors can be worth grading by professional services like PCGS or NGC. Regular 1995 penny, Philadelphia or Denver. Circulated 1 to 10 cents, basically face value. Uncirculated, $1 to $5 depending on grade. 1995's proof. $5 to $20 depending on quality. 1995 doubled die obverse. Circulated, $20 to $50. Uncirculated, $100 to $300 plus. Rare high grades, over $1,000. So, the 1995 Lincoln cent may seem like just another penny, but if you come across the famous doubled die obverse, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Always check your pocket change, coin rolls, or collections carefully because hidden treasures often come in the form of the smallest coin. If you own any of these, check them carefully, especially for errors or high-grade conditions. Sometimes what looks like just a penny can actually be worth a small fortune. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting secrets. And let me know in the comments which one of these cents do you have in your collection.